just in case anybody's waiting.
Okay.
I normally leave this version live for I don't know a few days a week anyway, and then I kind of make it private before I publish the full HD version. So anyway, so there'll be a few people if they don't join us live, they'll catch up anyway. And so
Yeah,
I'm
no
here
problem.
with. Go ahead. Sorry.
NASA, that's great.
Yeah. So this is your host, the Zenith, joining you once again on another episode of the podcast of the Spirit Channel. I'm here with the lovely Bo Bissett, is it? Or Bassett?
Yeah, Bissett, you said it
Bissett,
exactly right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Bo is an energy healing guide in the technique, if I can say that, of Amo Ni. Amo Ni. He's
Amo
also
Ni.
Amo Ni. Amo Ni,
Yeah.
apologies.
No worries, no worries.
And you're also an author of Amo Abundance and Amo Form. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So very, very warm welcome, Bo, to the show. How are you keeping?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah. Well, as I was just saying, just slightly beforehand there, a little flustered, but we got there in the end.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just kind of thought that, like most people who contact me, that you were based in some part of the USA. I had no idea that you're actually in Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's definitely a first for me. I'd love to hear more about that. And I know because I've been reading so much about your life and stuff and how you kind of ended up there, but just for the viewers and stuff like that. So if you wouldn't mind, Bo, talk about a bit about your how you got to this stage in your life, coming from America to Taiwan of all places. I'm not too sure if there's too many people can turn around and say they know someone from Taiwan.
Exactly. Yeah, well, in fact, when I first came here about 20 years ago, and even like 5 years after I'd come here and been here for the first time, like 20 years ago, my parents would still say, "So how's Thailand?" I'm like, "No, it's Taiwan, not Thailand." So completely different place, but yeah, so it's understandable if you hadn't heard of it. It's a small country off the coast of China, and I would have 20 years ago, I would have been surprised or not surprised if you hadn't heard of it. But now, with COVID and the country's amazing response to the pandemic, I would be surprised if you have not heard of Taiwan.
There's also
So
that kind of geopolitical aspect going on for anyone who kind of follows politics. I think from
yeah,
kind of thing, there's a lot of disagreement with China, mainland China as well. So
hmm
it's quite unfortunate.
yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's strategically, as from China's perspective. I mean, you can see why they would want to take Taiwan. I mean, if there was a small island off the coast of the UK or definitely America. If there was a small island off the coast of America, you know, pretty straight up that America would have their stamp on it. So. But I mean, Taiwan is it's an independent country. It's a democratic country, and they've done a good job of establishing themselves as a free country, and it's part of the reason that I'm here. It's a beautiful, beautiful little island, and I first came here, like I said, 20 years ago. The beginning part of my life, I was an angry kid, and like most people, I buried my emotions, pushed them down, and they started manifesting. That anger and frustration started manifesting at a young age through a lot of injuries that occurred in my lower legs, ankles. I broke my ankle several times, and then when I was 15, about 15 and a half, 16, snapped my knee playing football. Sorry, football, like European football or soccer in America. I've gotten so used to calling it football. I've been away from America for so long. Yeah, I snapped my knee. Just completely lost my career playing soccer, and just fell into drugs and alcohol really hard. It was a way for me to numb the pain, and I just went downhill from there. I graduated high school with decent grades. I was always a decent kid in school and stuff. I went to school, and after my freshman year, I got in a car accident when I was 19 years old. I was drunk driving. It was a single car accident. I veered off the road late at night, and the first cop on the scene told the paramedics. He called the hospital and said, "You guys take your time. This guy's there's nobody alive in this car."
Oh, really? Wow.
So the car I was going about the cop witnessed the accident. So apparently I was going about 100 miles an hour and rolled off the road, flipped through a telephone pole, and yeah. So anyway, when they found out I was alive, they airlifted me to the hospital, and apparently I told my girlfriend's mother, an ex-girlfriend's mother who showed up the next day to visit me, that my great grandfather came and visited me and told me, he's like, "Go back, like this is not your time. You still got some work to do." And honestly, I regretted that decision for the next 20 years. It
I remember
was,
reading that.
I drank just to, like, I always hoped that I would just drink myself silly and then I just wouldn't wake up the next morning. Just so much pain. And then 2 years later, I mean, I broke every bone that you could think of. I had stitches and staples and tubes coming out of me. I was in a wheelchair for months. Then 2 years later, I did the same thing again. So this time I was skateboarding. I was drunk. I got hit by a car. The car kept going. I don't know if the car even knew that it hit me, but it rolled over my legs, and I almost would have lost my right leg. I got a staph infection. Again, it's a wheelchair because I broke both my legs. Just completely incapacitated for another 2 years. And then when I graduated school, I'd done a lot of cocaine in university, but I got back into it after I graduated and I started making some money. And at that point, I got really deep into cocaine and I was doing it. I was using it every day. And at that point, I was like, I've crushed my family twice through these two drinking accidents, and now, like, am I really gonna tell them that I can't get off cocaine? So I packed up everything. I gave everything away. I left my car at my brother's house in Baltimore, Maryland, and handed him the keys. And I was like, "It's all yours, man. Do whatever you want with it." And I just left. And I went to Europe, and I ended up hanging out. I met a friend of mine in London, and then traveled around Europe for a bit, and ended up in the Czech Republic to take a English teaching course. And from there, I met a guy in the course who kind of needed to get a job pretty quickly. So I was like, I'll take care of you until we get settled. You pick a place. I was like, I'm kind of up for anything right now. I really don't care. And he found Taiwan, and that's how we ended up here.
Amazing story. It's one of obviously a lot of trauma and a lot of hurt and stuff like that. And I guess there was something I was going to ask you there. I guess you were kind of this. You were looking for something in life. You were looking for something, but you just couldn't find it, and you were just unhappy with everything. I think, like most people who go through something like this and end up like yourself being a teacher or some sort of healer or something like that, I guess we're looking for something more satisfying on a deeper level that our current life, our material needs can't give us, and because we can't satisfy that itch, we end up trying to dumb the pain or dull the pain. I can totally relate. I've had spells of alcoholism myself. I've buried myself, completely because I've just found myself completely unsatisfied with the world and just feeling like there's nothing in it. It's dull, and so you take the alcohol to try and numb the pain. So I can completely relate. But I also wonder, was there ever a sense, or do you have a sense now that what you were through was trying to potentially send you a message, was trying to hit you over the head with like a plank of wood to say, "Bo, wake up and and realize that there's more to life"? Or did you ever get a sense of that, maybe?
That plank over the head was my father, and he always reminded me, what I was doing wrong, and part of the thing with the drinking was what I was thinking at the time was like, why can't why can't I do it? Right? I have friends who, go out and drink and have a good time, but I was always the one that couldn't let go. Like I was, everybody else could go home after the party was over, but I was the one that wanted the party to continue for on and on and on. I just like when the alcohol got into my system, when any drug got into my system, it was like I woke up and I was like, oh, I can feel, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was Jekyll and Hyde. It was just two distinctly different personalities. And I realized, well, with the, with the alcohol, I realized now that what I was doing was just numbing myself, number one, but also punishing myself because the emotions because once I found this work and once I started clearing the emotions that were the underlying factors for me doing all the self-sabotaging, whether it's with alcohol or with, bankrupting myself financially or, finding a beautiful, caring, unbelievable woman and then just walking right out the door, pushing my family away and my friends away, just all the micro things, decisions, thoughts, emotions that I was doing, they were all based on programs that I was running, and some of them were from from my childhood, and then I also know that I was carrying some past life stuff as well. So through this work, I've discovered that our emotions are so powerful, and as males, and well, most of us too. Like a lot of women are taught the same thing. Push your emotions down, don't deal with them. Women are a lot better about dealing with their emotions and owning up, where men just push them down and don't want to deal with them at all. But I mean, the emotions are they're such an integral part, and the subconscious uses those emotions to numb us, to control us, to keep us as zombified and controlled as possible, so it can run the show. So it can worry about what's going on in the inside, pumping your heart, running oxygen through your body, and all the cellular regeneration and stuff like that. It just wants just wants you numb and stupid and just sitting on the couch eating potato chips.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, as you mentioned there. Our emotions, our feelings are such a massive part of us, and yet we've been taught not to value these things in our current societies. We've been taught that they're of no value. They don't particularly play any part, and especially as you mentioned there, as a male, as a someone who was in the football and stuff like that. I guess you're part of the world growing up. We were kind of not really taught about dealing with your emotions, bringing them up. You were taught to be a man, and a man doesn't do those type of things, and it feeds into that whole masculine male culture as well, which is very, very toxic and unhelpful for us. So yeah, I can completely understand there. And I guess one of the things that I always say is it's when you awaken to this here and you begin to become aware of your emotions and feelings and begin to understand where they're coming from and what part they're playing in your life, you begin to see other people in different ways. You begin to realize how many other people are walking around and acting unconsciously. They're just, as you say, sort of zombified. They're just not even aware of what they're doing. They're reacting. They're simply reacting to their emotions instead of being controlling them.
We all are, and it's our job to, oh man, I was watching I watched this guy. I'm been working on trying to heal my accidents, especially my right knee for ages, and I finally stumbled across this guy. His name's Ben Patrick. In America, on YouTube, he's known as the knees over toes guy. If you haven't heard about him, if you've got any, if you have any restrictions, especially with your lower body, definitely recommend checking him out.
Okay.
He's an amazing healer, a physical healer for injuries. And anyway, so I was watching him the other day, and he's got this one pose or one movement that he does, and he talks about, you know, going all the way down when you're doing a squat, like going all the way down, taking your butt to your ankles. And the reason being is like because that movement helps the signal to the body to create and send synovial fluid, which is like the fluid that greases the knee and the joint, you know, keeps it young and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He said that, you know, as we get older, a lot of us, especially Western people in the Western countries, we can't get down in that position anymore. Asian people have no problems because they use the squatter toilets and they're used to getting down. So in the name of efficiency, you know, for Western people, like we sit in chairs all day and then we go home, we sit on the couch, like, and so in the name of efficiency, the subconscious shuts down the production of that synovial fluid and basically makes our bodies weaker, because it's like the subconscious is thinking, all right, if you're not going to use this, then I got other stuff to take care of. You know, your diet's bad, you know, you're stressful, you know, your stressful thinking is, you know, is ruining me. So, you know, I got all these other things, you know, that I got to fend off that you're throwing at me. So that's one that I don't have to worry about. You're not using it, we're cutting off. And the same thing happens with the emotions, right? In the name of efficiency, as soon as we're, not long after we're conceived, our subconscious starts taking in and anchoring and embodying emotions. And it does that for the same reason, for the name of efficiency. So if we have if we encounter a traumatic incident, and the whole definition of trauma needs to be redefined as well, because, you know, a traumatic incident can be you standing in the supermarket aisle with your mom and you wanting a Snickers bar or a candy bar, and she's telling you you can't have it. You know, or it can be something as big as a car accident, right? There's no, you know, you're the one who defines trauma. So anyway, so we have a traumatic event, or, you know, some people might call it just an emotional event. Well, that the subconscious latches onto that and says, all right, in this situation, this is how we handle this. I'm going to save that. So the next time that happens, I'm going to cue it. So you don't even have to think about it. And I can go back to running the show. I can go back to all the internal work that needs to be done. And you don't have to bother me with that, or we don't have to bother each other with that. Cue the emotion and it's done. And, you know, that is the reason that why so many people are drawn to TV, or drawn to vegging out, or drawn to activities that keep us in the status quo, below our potential. Because if we're just hanging out, if we're not exposing ourselves to any danger, then the subconscious can pull, you know, can just stay in this little hole, in this little cave, and do all the things that it needs to do without worrying about having to react to another situation where it's not familiar with. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt, and she said this back in the, I don't know, whenever she was the first lady. I'm not that good with history. But I remember reading a quote by her one time, and it was saying that every day she does something, or she tried to do something that pushed her out of her comfort zone. And that kind of behavior right there is the behavior that will one up you over your subconscious, that will take you out of those programs, that will keep you pushing the bar forward, and have you day by day reaching the potential that we all inherently have, but is being suppressed by, you know, the almighty subconscious.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because that kind of brings me to your part where you mentioned about your routine, you know, is keeping us stuck. And you're absolutely right. We get up and we just do the same thing constantly, and we fall into patterns, and it's just this kind of dullness, pattern, safety. We don't change. We then become afraid of change. Even if we know something's good for us, if we hate our job, if we hate what we do, if we resent getting up, and an opportunity comes along for us to do something different, and we probably know, and we kind of know that it is beneficial for us, but because it represents change, because it represents a form of danger, we shy away from it. And as you rightly say, we self-sabotage then because of the subconscious wants to keep us in place, keeps us
Exactly.
safe and away from danger.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So the thing is that when you know in your routine, in your day-to-day life, I recommend like doing at least one thing, like I know Eleanor Roosevelt said, like just one thing, just like kind of push the envelope a little bit further. And it doesn't have to be big things, right? We start small, and I think that's another thing. That's another setup that we have for failure, because a lot of us think, you know, when we go to make a change, like, all right, you might be 50 pounds over, or 50, let's say 20 kgs overweight. You might have, you might have a drinking problem. You might have problems, whatever it is. You have this issue, right? And you have these grand desires. Like, all right, so let's just pick one. Let's just say that you're overweight, and by the beginning of the summer, you want to look nice in a swimsuit. Okay. Well, the thing is, we overestimate what we can achieve in a short time, right? But then underestimate. I think Bill Gates said the same thing. But we underestimate what we can achieve in a decade, right? So a lot of us just set ourselves up for failure by saying, oh, I'm going to do this by that, but it's baby steps. It's baby steps. So we have to reframe what we want to do and how we're going to do it by just making very small incremental changes, and just the smallest changes on a daily basis. At the end of 2 months or 3 months or even a year, those small daily changes make huge difference. And by the end of a year, you can be so much further than you ever thought you would be. But if you set your targets too short, then you're gonna fail. You're setting yourself up for failure, and then you're just gonna fall back into the way you were doing things.
Yeah. This is exactly why so many people's New Year resolutions completely fail, because they're trying to accomplish too much in such a short space of time. And then when they find they can't accomplish it, they fall into that negative pattern of self-criticism and self-sabotage again. And then they think, well, I may as well, because I can't do it, there's no point trying to do anything. But as you say, if you take it slowly and easy and make small incremental changes and continue to do that over the course of, say, a year, you will be very, very surprised at how much you have actually changed. So tell us a bit more about this idea of self-awareness too, because this feeds into it too, doesn't it? We drink too much and then we say, I'm going to have a New Year's resolution, or I'm going to stop drinking. Then we fail on it because we've tried to do too much. Then we have these concepts in our head that I'm a bad person, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. I can't, I don't have the willpower to do it. And that feeds into our thing of self-awareness, which you've said is the conscious, or is this, it's the conscious recognition of thoughts, words, deeds, emotions, and energy you use to dictate the outcome of your interactions with relationships. Now, I don't know if that was you had said that, or was that the dictionary definition?
That's my definition.
Oh, right. Okay. Fantastic. It's actually that precise. It sounds like it belongs in a dictionary.
Yeah. No, it looks like I copied from a like a dictionary or
Yeah, it does.
or whatever. But no, that is my definition of self-awareness. And I came up, that I can't even remember what the proper definition of it was, but it didn't suit the experience that I had when I became self-aware. For a majority of the things. Now I still do clearing on not a daily basis, but at least on a weekly basis, and I still uncover things that and programs that I've installed that over the years and in my past that I that I'm getting rid of. Now, self-awareness comes when we do the clearing, and it's like it's a popped bubble. So what we do is I go through and we find the energy, the emotions, the energy, and then also like physical energy that we've embodied, that we've anchored in our bodies. And when we do that, then we connect with it and we release it. Once it's released, it's usually, it can happen in hours sometimes, but it's usually a few days to a week when you start having these bubbles bubble up. I guess that's the best word.
I know what you
Bubbles bubble
mean.
up
Yep.
from inside, and then once they kind of get into your awareness, and you're thinking about those things, it's like pop. And when they pop, you have this recognition of what you've been doing. You know, most of my life, my dad reminded me of the things that I was doing wrong. And I was always like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, just leave me alone. You know, friends would call me out for the things I've done. Lovers, you know, did the same thing. And I was like, you know, whatever. But when I had, when I found those emotions and released them, and then I saw them firsthand. I saw the micro thoughts and words and deeds and emotions that I was giving off, and the energy that I was giving off that was undermining my success in finance, in love, in business, in friendships, and my own health. I was self-sabotaging my own health. I was getting sick almost on a monthly basis. And I mean like flu sick, right before I started going through and starting this healing journey. I was just mega sick all the time. And once those bubbles started popping, I saw that it was just like, it was such a huge, first of all, it was a huge relief. But it was also extremely difficult to deal with, because I was like, oh my God. Like, it was a mirror right in front of my face showing me exactly what I was saying and doing. And I saw firsthand, I was like, oh, I have ruined myself. I have done all of these things that have just kept me small. I was like, I have been my own worst enemy. I have completely kept myself down. I was like, imagine what I can accomplish when these things are gone. And I just started clearing more, and like life just started opening up, and it was just, wow, it's just an amazing experience. So, you know, talking about the energy too, like, it's one thing that a lot of people today, they hear energy and they're like, you know, they think it's, you know, some woo stuff. But a good example of this is yesterday. I was at the beach with my wife. We were at the beach and we were playing on paddle boards and kayaks and stuff, and we had our dog with us. And certain people, when they walk by, the dog just looks at them and just kind of watches when they walk by. But other people, when they walk by, she goes straight up to them and starts barking. You know? And it's those, you know, it has nothing to do with the way that they looked at her or the way they're walking. It's their energy. Mm-hmm. And dogs feel that, you know? And so, yeah. I mean, that's a perfect example of, like, you know, for another example is like when we get in an argument, for their spouse or maybe somebody at work, you know, there's a point where a conversation goes from just a conversation to an argument. And sometimes we throw our hands up and we're like, how the hell did that happen? there's things that we are thinking, there's things that we are feeling, and there's that energy that comes from those thoughts and those feelings
Yeah.
that ignites the other person or ignites, the situation between us. And that energy is real.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. My wife and I was on my own journey for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years before we met. And then I pulled her along with me. And then we've both been pulling each other along, the whole way. And each day we're just amazed at, some of the things, the lessons that we're learning about energy and about ourselves, and about the healing process itself. It's really, really amazing that our bodies are vessels that that latch that are storage bins for this energy, which we store in the way of energy, or I can also find it through, like an emotional attachment as well. And so our bodies are like a high school hallway, just littered with lockers. And inside of those lockers is where we store all these things. And for instance, we were talking today about an individual another individual, a friend of ours does CST, cranial sacral.
Okay.
I can't remember what the T stands for. But it's amazing. If you've ever had any traumatic, like a surgery or a traumatic, like a car accident or stuff like that, this stuff is amazing for releasing that trauma. It's kind of like Reiki, but more scientific based. They really deal with the fascia and stuff like that. Anyway, this guy was talking about, my wife and him were talking about enemas. And he was saying how when he first, when he was doing the enema, he released a lot. There was a lot of, poo that comes out, right? And he said when he, during that release, afterwards, he had such an emotional week or two after that, and I was telling my wife that, that, that feces, that,
Yeah.
what was going out, that is matter, and matter is a storage bin for energy, right? So, I mean, matter is energy condensed into into a solid state,
Yeah.
right?
Solid form. Yep.
So that was like that, that feces that he was holding on to was, holding on to this energy and these emotions that he, let go. And once he let it out, then, that those emotions and that energy was allowed to move. And so, I mean, it's just amazing that, the energy. It's really amazing how prolific it is, and everything. I mean, from the computer screen that you and I are using to talk to each other, to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I mean, every single thing is energy. It's all energy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty powerful, and I know that it can be hard to actually describe, to put into words, because when you get these revelations, it's unlike anything. And as you were saying, to release that energy, to have those moments of clarity where you've been blindsided, I guess, for years, and to uncover something about yourself which you had no idea. It's like an epiphany, isn't it? It's just, oh my God, I have been acting in this manner, or I have been doing this all, and I had no idea. It was like something attached to my back, which I didn't even know was there until someone brought it to my awareness. But it's
Exactly.
very, very hard to put that into words unless you've been through that revelation.
True.
It's incredible, and as you say, everything is energy, and to have that recognition, and to understand the energy that we give off, and the energy that, we talk about these things all the time, and nobody really pays much attention. We talk about bad vibes and good vibes, and yet they're just words to people. Getting bad vibes from that person, know that that's a good vibe that I'm getting there, or you can feel it off people when they're angry. That the energy that's expressed off them.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can just actually feel it. It's palpable in the room. You just want to take a step back because the energy that they're giving off because of that, or trauma, or anything like that. It is incredible. Different vibrations as well, and how emotions make us feel and can really drag us down to the ground. But
Mm-hmm.
yet when we're feeling that joy, we feel elated. We can almost dance in the air. So it is absolutely incredible. um One thing I did want to get to is where you got then from your journey when you landed there in Taiwan. And I know that you got a job teaching English, but you were back on the drinks, back on the
Mm-hmm.
drug. You ended up in the gutter. So how did you get from that point then to this discovery of this Amo Ni or Amo Ni?
Amo Ni, yeah, that's right. Well, I bounced around after I came to Taiwan. When I first got here, actually, we landed at night, and we got here. I came in here with my friend, and when we got here, I told him, I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Like we came from Prague, right? And then we caught a bus into like a city in the center part of the country, and it was not Prague, right? So I was like, dude, I'm leaving. But anyway, so he's like, dude, you like just can't, just stay with me and let me, help me out. I was like, man, don't worry, man, but I'm leaving. He's like, no, stay. So I ended up staying. The funny story is he left like not long after that, like a year later, and I ended up staying like 3 or 4 years. So, but after that, I traveled some more. I went to Mexico, I went to Spain, I went to Vietnam, then back to Taiwan, then back to Vietnam. Where else did I go? Anyway, and the right before, like one of my biggest down spells was I was in Ho Chi Minh, I was in Vietnam. I had another downturn of events. I lost a wonderful woman. I had the business just fell apart. Drug drinking myself stupid. Like you just said, I woke up in the gutter in Ho Chi Minh early one morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, oh man, what am I doing? And I called my brother. I was like, man, I need some help. So I got back to America, and when I got there, I sobered up for a little bit. Actually, really sober up. I went from drinking as much as I was to I cleaned up a little bit. And so I got there. I was like, "Whoa, man! How did I end up back here? Like, I definitely don't want to be in America. So, how do I get myself sorted out and move forward?" So, I was like, "All right, I love traveling. I'm good with websites and writing content. So I'll start a website or a blog where I write and I bicycle." So I got on a bicycle and I rode across America, and I kept a blog, and I was like, I'm going to be a travel writer, and this is what I'll do. But I got to the end. I went coast to coast, and I got to the West Coast, and like nothing had really materialized. Like 6 months later, and my family was like, it's all right. Come back. We'll get you up and running. We'll sort you out. When I got back, my aunt ended up getting breast cancer. And at that time, I was drinking profusely because the bicycle trip failed. I came back to America. That had all I just felt like everything was just falling apart. And I saw she got breast cancer, and I was like, and then I had my own physical problems that were getting worse and worse, and that was just like a spotlight for me. It's like you gotta cut. First of all, you're like 37 years old. You're living with your aunt and uncle. Like, what's wrong with you?
Mhm.
And so that was a huge moment for me. And I just kind of turned on a dime, and I started picking up everything. I could start reading everything I could get my hands on. And I got a bartending job, saved some money, and then moved back to Asia. I moved back to I would move to Da Nang, Vietnam. And I was writing some books, like some fiction, and trying to get myself sorted that way. But I kept getting sick in Vietnam, and I left Vietnam and ended up in Taiwan. And then from there, I met this woman who's my wife now, and we have been on this like journey. We've been pulling each other. Sometimes I pull her, sometimes she pulls me, sometimes I carry her on my shoulders, sometimes she carries me on her shoulders. But we've done it, and we've fought through and got through so much. Just we've stripped ourselves of so much of that emotional baggage that we were carrying, so much anger, so much hate, so much jealousy, so much guilt and shame, and just really heavy emotions. And we discovered this work, and like it transformed everything. It's really put spotlights on all the areas that I needed to focus on. And literally within months of, it's funny, going back to that whole enema story.
Mm-hmm.
After I started doing this clearing, I'm about 80 kgs, and I'm pretty fit. I went from about 80 kgs to, I think I got down after all this clearing work, I got down to about 68.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was all just my body just cleansing itself, like getting rid of that mass that was holding on to these emotions. That was that attachment, to those emotions on the physical plane. And I'm not somebody who should lose that much weight. I'm not. I'm probably I'm about 178 centimeters, and yeah, at 80 kgs, I have a nice shape. But at 68, I look like a skeleton. And so, yeah, it all went out, and it was quick too. It happened within weeks. I saw photos of myself. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I look like that. It was pretty bad. But I needed that. I needed that cleansing. And from there, I started rebuilding. I started rebuilding emotionally. I started rebuilding financially. I started rebuilding with my wife and our relationship. Physically, it just, completely transformed, who I thought I was, who I identified with, what I thought I was capable with, all the restrictions that I had put on myself, that I had held on to, which were, the programs, the subconscious programs. With those gone, my life was completely different. I was physically, I was a completely different person. And I was allowing, and with that, all of that junk gone, I was allowed to be the person that I finally had seen myself becoming, but just didn't know how it would ever materialize. And
Wow. And I'm simply because of this. What exactly is it? What would you describe? Or I know it actually means something. It's two different words. One's Spanish and one is Asian or Chinese, isn't it?
yeah, Chinese, yeah,
Chinese. So
yeah.
what exactly does Amo Ni mean?
Yeah, Amo Ni. I came up with the name because it's a blend of philosophies. Amo in Spanish means I love, and Ni in Chinese means you. So basically, Amo Ni means I love you, and
Yeah, okay.
the goal of the program is to have the individual going through the program be able to look in the mirror and tell themselves and mean it and say, I love you. And once you get to that point, like your life changes. And yeah, so that's the meaning of the name. There are four foundations to Amo Ni. One being muscle testing, which is, I first learned about muscle testing maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. And when I first learned it was the partner muscle testing. One, you get your arm extended, and the other person asks you a question and pushes down on your arm. If your arm stays extended, then that's a strong yes. if the muscle breaks or not breaks, but if the muscle gives and the arm drops, then that's a no. And I thought that was interesting, but I've always been somebody that I like doing things on my own. And so when I discovered self muscle testing, to me that was amazing, because that put me in touch with direct contact with my subconscious and allowed me to talk to my own body and get the answers. Doctors have saved my life multiple times, probably multiple times. There's 2 car accidents. I had one instance where I can't even remember the bacteria that I got, and I was in the hospital for 10 days. Anyway, modern medicine has saved my life. And I think there's a time and a place for modern medicine, but too many of us rely on it.
Yeah.
At every beck and call. It's like, oh, I got a headache. All right, I got to pop some stuff, Or I got a runny nose. I got to go, talk to the doctor and get some pills for it. It's like we use pills for everything, and we're weakening our own inner being by putting those things in our body. Like, we are so capable of healing,
Yeah.
We are so capable of being, the strong and capable person that we want to be inside, but through a very good last couple of decades or last couple of generations of marketing, we've been led to believe that we must submit ourselves to a pill or a potion or a shot to take care of something that our body is designed to do on its own. And yeah, I just, we have that power. And once I found the muscle testing, and once I started talking to my body, and my body started answering, because it takes a while. It took me about 3 to 4 weeks before, when I was muscle testing, for me to actually trust in the answers that I was receiving. And then that's the first part of the muscle testing. You have to trust your body, and then your subconscious has to trust that you are ready for the power that it's about to hand over to you. So
Wow.
that's one step. Another part of Amo Ni is the meridian chart, which we use to peg the emotions on the body. Then there are corresponding release points that go with those meridians and the emotions that we find. Then there's the Amo breath, which is a pranayamic breath that uses the visualization of the breath moving through the body, through the crown of the head, down the throat, with the with the we swirl it around so that vibration stimulates the vagus nerve and is its own reset for the body. And with the O, we imagine that energy that we've connected with, and it's swirling around in our chest and pulling out the energy or the emotion that we connected with. The O shoots out of the chest and takes the energy with it, that emotion, and that all of that triggers and shakes and cuts the cords of those emotions and sets them free. And from there, we use some creative visualization or some neuro-linguistic programming to move the person off of those programs, move them further away from those programs and down further the path of their conscious intentions.
Yeah. That's it sounds pretty amazing, and you've combined these very powerful techniques on their own into one practice. Kinesiology, I guess, is not something that I was too much aware of, but I begin to hear it more and more, and I guess it's at the cutting edge of healing and stuff like that. The breath work is so important, and obviously, it is it's used for everything. Every practice that I do, and there's some form of breath work in it. And it's crazy because it's the most simplest of techniques. I guess to tag onto your point there about the medical, the the medical association, they're pushing all of these drugs on this, which don't actually help us. It's not in their interest to heal us, because if they did, they're not going to make any more money out of us. So their drugs really don't help us that much, and they don't help address the underlying problems. But things like this here, simply by changing your breath, something that we do every day and we don't even think about it. The power of doing something like that is just astounding. But yeah, so it's a pretty amazing technique, and for you to kind of use all these different things, because I've heard of them all separately, but to have them all combined into one practice, it must be pretty powerful and pretty amazing. How long would someone who's maybe potentially doing something with you, how long would it take for them to to see the benefits, I guess?
The benefits can come after the first session. And for me, when I started clearing, the benefits were immediate. Like after my first, when I first started connecting with the stuff, it was, the first, and it was powerful. I cried for months and months. For about 3 months, I was just like at the most, just randomly too. I would just randomly start crying. Oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I crying? What's wrong with me? And I would just let it go. And I got to the point, I was like, all right, I'm healing. Let it go. Like, be out in public. I'm just like, oh, sorry. I'm just going to go to the bathroom here for a second.
Brilliant.
It was hard, man. But it's after the first session, some people have really powerful first sessions. We run up the chakras, so do like the most powerful emotional attachments in each of the 7 chakras, and then the 8th session we do like a body clear, look at other things, any recurring themes that popped up, and then the final session I do, the 9th session I do like a spatial, like an ego clear as well. But it depends. Like some people are big. Store big, a lot of their stuff in the first chakra. Some people in the 3rd chakra. Some in any of the chakras. Also the heart. The heart's a big chakra as well. So once we hit that one, it can be like just a huge opening. So it really depends on the individual.
Okay. And I think it's so amazing that we're finding out so much about our own bodies. It really is incredible through techniques like this here, through people like Wim Hof and what he's able to achieve. I interviewed a lady where she'd done this kind of meridian points, the tapping technique, but she had developed it further. She was able to put her awareness into her body and release things, and she was able to realign her jaw or something crazy like that, and realign her eye sockets, through releasing of trauma by going inside and doing something in there. So it's just these things that are just coming up at the minute that we begin to understand how powerful our bodies really are, and how much potential that we have with them. It's crazy. It really is.
It really is.
I want to talk about healing, just because healing it's the foundation for everything that we do. I obviously do a form of healing, and it's just something that I'm looking to develop further and further. And it underpins everything, all kind of practices, no matter what it is you do. And I think it's the most important thing that you can do in your life. Once you're connecting with someone, once someone comes to you in a broken state, and to give them healing, or to help them heal themselves, to see that person completely and utterly transformed, it's just so powerful. I think it's just so powerful, isn't it? It's just a powerful thing, and it's such a responsibility for you to turn around, to be a healer, to be able to offer that service. I think it's it's almost like you're a superhero, you know, with great responsibility, or great power comes with great responsibility. You begin to recognize what a powerful thing that you're offering. And for me, as I said, that's where the satisfaction comes, you know, and I guess that's where you want to give back to the world.
I can't agree. I can't agree enough. It's just, it really is an amazing feeling because, you know, I think that, you know, to heal others, you first have to heal yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so to go through that journey, you know, I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't have been through all the pain that I went through, right?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, I wouldn't have tried. I mean, if everything was fine and dandy, and you know, I never had any issues, I'd probably, you know, have a wife, 2 kids, a picket fence, white house with, you know, 2 dogs, and you know, mortgage and all that other stuff. And but uh, which is, you know, I'm painting the perfect life. I don't know anybody that has the perfect life. Anyway, I'm just saying I'd be different. I'd definitely be different.
Yes.
But and I wouldn't have been down this. I wouldn't have been down this road. But I think that now, having broken myself and having healed myself, it's like, all right, you know, I gotta, you know, I have a responsibility now. I have a responsibility to share this with other people, and you know, this is something that, you know, not only can I guide people through, but this is something that I can teach other people to do on themselves, and and in turn use this with their family and their friends. Like, I'm not doing any certification courses or anything like this. I mean, this is knowledge that I'm passing on, that I've used to heal myself. That, like, you know, go spread the word. Like, you know,
Yeah.
go heal others with, you know, the same things that I've taught you to do. So yeah, it's a beautiful, you know, it's a beautiful gift that keeps giving to everybody it touches. So I mean, we're in a very, you know, we're in a nice position to be able to take our experiences and help others, hopefully not go through the pain that you and I had to go through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're right. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's great responsibility. So I mean, I could take this, you know, what I've done, and say, you know, I'm done. Like, I'm just gonna keep, you know, I'm gonna do my own thing now. But I just don't feel that that's, you know, so many. It's like we talked about at the beginning. You know, so many of us are asleep, and so many of us are, you know, glued to our phones and glued to the TV and glued to, you know, everything else is keeping us awake. And I feel like, you know, with the way that I feel now, the way that, you know, my life is opened up, like, you know, it's our responsibility to help others, you know, see, you know, and experience the life that we were experiencing. Because, you know, the pain that I went through, the pain that I suffered through drinking, and you know, other people suffer the same thing, but it might be through food, or it might be
Yeah.
through abusive relationships, or it might be through, you name it, you know,
Sex or
gambling, sex,
pain.
or exactly, yeah, or
Yeah.
self punishment through, like, actually physically hurting themselves. So I mean, I've pretty much done all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, so, you know, they're all the same. They're pretty much all the same, right? So you can't, a drunk person can't look at a fat person and say, oh, well, you're fat, blah blah blah. It's like, well, you know, they're just different.
Yes.
They're just different vehicles, right? You know, so you're doing the same thing as, you know, the drunk person doing the same thing as the fat person is doing, and the fat person doing the
Yeah.
same thing as the, you know, and it
Yeah.
just
Because
goes on down the
you
line.
did mention that. You mentioned the difference between a habit, I think, and an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I think you mentioned that in one of your blog posts, and you're talking about that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it is because people don't necessarily look at things like that as an addiction, like binge eating or sex or self-sabotage. They just look at addictions as obviously drugs or alcohol. But you're right, it's the same thing. You know, whatever's keeping you stuck is an addiction if you're not addressing, if you're not dealing with it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think this is why it's so important. The entire world needs healing. You know, it needs healing of some course. And if we had got these politicians and these warmongers and sat them down and made them realize about themselves, I don't think then they'd be so hasty to push us to war and to capture territories, because I think that most of these people, as you've mentioned, as we've been through, have some sort of trauma within themselves and have not addressed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion anyway.
I agree.
Yeah. So tell us then about your. Give us your two books first of all. Tell us about your two books. Your
Um, there's Amo Abundance and Amo
Mhm.
Form. Amo Form is for addiction, and Amo Abundance is for abundance. Basically, the trifecta of emotional issues, the biggest that we that we experience growing up is love, money, and family. All right. So, so money, the abundance book helps release the the emotions that we've attached to money. Um, you know, some of us are programmed to look at money as as a bad thing, or people that have money as bad people. Money is neither here. Money is neutral. It is
Yeah.
what it is. It's just a medium of exchange that we use to purchase the goods and services that we want. And money is what it is. So, but too many of us, we see somebody, driving a Mercedes or BMW or whatever nice car, and they cut somebody off in traffic, and you're like, first thing you say is, "Oh, that rich a-hole," you know. And you think about it like, whoa, poor people drive like that too.
Yeah.
Why did I have to like put that tag on, that person, because you're envious of that person, because
Yeah.
whatever, there's dozens of different emotions that you could have attached to that for you to be able to respond that way. But that's one, and again, like dozens of different scenarios that we do daily, surrounding money, right? And the other one, I'm a Form, is for addiction, and you can use it for the program for food addiction, for alcohol addiction, for drug addiction. Once those emotional weights are gone, because I went from, at my heyday, I was drinking at Costco. They sell, no, sorry, I think they sell it at Costco too. I was buying it. There's a store in America called Wine Plus. And I think Costco has them too. They sell 18 packs of beer. All right. I was drinking an 18 pack of beer plus some. And then at night, I was drinking Jack Daniels to go to sleep,
Wow.
to put me out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, now
That.
it took physically, my body was addicted to alcohol, right? But once I got rid of the emotions, because I stopped drinking when my aunt went through her cancer stuff, and then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm cutting it out, and that's when I started my healing journey. But I always knew, I thought, based on past experiences, like I can't do it anymore. That's something that I cannot go back to. It has beaten me, and part of me felt mega defeated, because I never wanted to admit, like, this golden lager, this beer, this whiskey, this drink had that much power over me, and that's made me so angry. I was like, there's no way. But then at that point, after having failed dozens and dozens of times, and then finally getting my life sorted, I was like, all right, that's just something I can't do anymore. But when I started doing this clearing work, I realized that the self-sabotaging I was doing was based on the emotions. And I was using the alcohol as one of the ways to beat myself down. And it took me a few times to where I could have a drink and not, not go off the deep end. But there was a couple of times after I did the clearing, and I had probably a few too many drinks. I didn't get like sloshed, like not like I did, like I used to, but I pushed the envelope. And so but then I consciously backed away. I was like, all right, I can do this. I'll back away. And now, if if I'm working in the side yard or working in our garden and I want a beer after my day in the garden, I will go down to the store. I'll grab a 22 ounce just regular beer, super super cold beer on a hot summer day, and I'll have that beer. That's all I'll have. I'll just have that one drink. And on some days, I'll have that same thought, and I'll think, I want a beer. And then I'll say to myself, you know what? I don't think I'll have one. I've never, ever in my life had that kind of control with alcohol or drugs or any substance like that. And now I own it. Now I can say alcohol did not beat me. It knocked me around quite a bit. It beat me up quite a bit, but I won that battle. I won that war.
It's incredible because it's such a potent substance, and I think the saying goes that if it was came out today as a thing, it would be recognized as a Class A drug because it is so powerful and it's so addictive. And I think that the problem with it is that no matter what the excuse, you always say, well, I'll have a drink. I'm happy, I'll have a drink. I've had a hard day, I'll have a drink. Or I'm really sad, or I've had a fight, I'll have a drink. No matter what emotion it is, we tell ourselves we will have a drink. We make excuses for ourselves. I think it's hard as well for a lot of people because modern lifestyles are so busy and people are glued. Getting back to what we were saying about your routine, and people are fed up with that routine. They work 5 days a week, if not more. They work 40, 50, 60 hours. We have to come home, we have to sort out numerous things, and people are tired. People are just too tired, and they're looking for something to take the edge off. And alcohol is readily available. And I don't think it starts off for many people as a form of alcoholism, but it just creeps up on you. It just creeps up and creeps up, and the next thing you know, you're addicted. And even if you're not an addict like you were, and like I drank quite a lot, I think that even if you're not that type of alcohol, we have this concept of the modern alcoholic, people who are functioning alcoholics, who will have a bottle of wine or two, or maybe not two, a night, and go to their work the next day. And I think that's called the modern type of alcoholic, where people don't even recognize that alcohol. So for you to come from where you were, to drink that much, to have so many setbacks, and to now be able to take a can of lager and look at it objectively and say, I will have this one and this one only, is so powerful. And it must be, hopefully for anyone watching this or for anyone listening to it, who has that problem, to be such an inspiration, to be inspired by that, to see that it can be done is I don't know, I just can't find the words. It really is amazing.
That's actually one of the there's so many things that I'm proud of, but that's really, for me, is something that, I'm super proud of. But I do want to say this, like, if you're in a position now where alcohol is a problem with you, don't put that as your end point. Like, oh, one day I'll be able to have a drink again. Just, there's a lot of other things you need to focus on. You need to focus on getting yourself right first, right? And getting rid of the emotions, getting rid of all the baggage that you're carrying that's keeping you drinking, right? And truly, a healthy lifestyle does not involve alcohol or drugs or anything. You do not need to drink to relax. You do not need to drink to feel happy. You do not need to drink because you've had a hard day. You do not need to drink, period. So, you need to get to the point where you can just move past that and just not think about it. And then maybe, but don't even think about it. Maybe one day you'll reach that point.
Yeah.
So.
But it's obviously through practices like you offer, because I'm sure people are going, well, I want to be able to do that. And I know we talked a little bit about it, but I want to get just a bit more into some of the healing courses that you do offer for and provide solutions for things like this. You have Amo Life, I think, as well.
Yeah, Amo Life and Amo Evolution. Amo Evolution is that's the advanced one. So the Amo Life is like I told you earlier. That one's a chakra-based system. We attach the 3 heaviest emotions: emotional anchors, energetic anchors, and then what I call biochemical energetic anchors in each of the 7 chakras, and that's heavy. It's really heavy stuff, and so it's 9 weeks. I've also got. I'm running for this course right now. Yeah. What I've done is based on some advice from a business advisor to the books, the Amo Abundance and the Amo Form, to include those as part of the Amo Life course. So basically, all the work that I've done that's part of that's something that you can take and use to also clear your own addictions, and also clear your issues with money, because the Amo Life course will completely nuclear bomb what you got going on, like your life. It'll just completely blow up and sever the chains of so many emotions that are holding you back, that are keeping you self-sabotaging, and will awaken you. But it's like going to the gym and hiring a strength coach, right? When you can go through 6 weeks with the strength coach and then be fit and be in shape, but if you stop going after you finish with your coach, you're just going to get unhealthy again. So the Amo Ni, I use it probably on a weekly basis. I don't use it every day anymore, but I do have instances that come up, and I was like, oh, okay, I should probably clear that, and I'll spend a couple hours during on a weekend, and I'll go through and hit the emotions and the energy and the biochemical energetic response as well, and then I move forward. And it's like you with your breathing. There are certain practices that I do weekly. I do breathing. I do, despite what it says on my website about meditation taking too long, I still meditate for a couple of minutes a day after my breathing, which is super important to me. These are all just small things that I do on a daily basis that's keeping me not only feeling great, but it's keeping me progressing me to the point that I want to be in life. Because I don't feel like I'm in a rush, but I've got some catching up to do, and I got some more life to live on a new abundant scale that I'm vibrating at. So. Yeah, so the books are part of the course. Let's see, both the books. Also, there's a video course where I teach the individuals after they go through the sessions with me. It teaches them exactly how to do what I do, so they can use this on a daily basis. So they can use this with their family. So they can use this with their friends. And also included with the course is some chakra clears every week, because when we go through this work after a session, like, they are big, they're emotional. So if someone needs some extra work, then that's also included to help them move that energy and those emotions further. The Amo breath does a huge job of neutralizing those emotions. You still feel them, but with a lot less severity than than without the
Previously.
breath. Yeah. So I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, the breath is, it's something we take advantage, right? It's something that we do every day. But how many of us consciously breathe, right?
Yeah.
So when you start consciously breathing, I mean, look at what, like you said, look at what Wim Hof has done. I mean, that guy's amazing, right? The Iceman, and some of the feats of strength and endurance and stamina that he's done just from breath work.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it truly is. And I think the Shaolin monks and people like that there, use things like that there. There's reports of Tibetan monks as well. They're able to regulate the bodily temperature or change the body temperature in their fingertips and their toes and slow down their heart rate. It's amazing what techniques like the breath can do, and just what we're finding out about the body. It really is amazing. Pretty soon we'll be able to run through brick walls and not feel it.
I know, right? I'm gonna let the next generation try that. I don't think I'm gonna try running through big walls. I'll let the next generation try
Yeah.
that trick.
Yeah, that'll be the next generation. That's what they'll be doing, following on from
Yeah,
what you're doing
yeah,
here.
yeah. I'll stand by. I'll stand by and cheer them on. You guys good go.
I think you've ran through enough brick walls or had enough brick walls.
Yeah, exactly. I'm done.
Brilliant. So what do you see about the future? What do you think the future is going to be of this Amo Ni? Do you want to expand it? You want to take it mainstream? You want to make it a global brand?
At this point, I'm still taking baby steps with it, and we're taking one person at a time. It would be nice to see this practice in the hands of as many people as possible, and but like I said, I mean, I'm just taking it a day at a time right now. As far as what I see on like a global scale of just where we are, you know, before I started, clearing, there's so many of us. I was right there with most people, worried about where we are, angry about where we are, continuously, looking at the news and, just hating on society and hating on this group of people or that group of people for holding us down and doing, whatever society does. But now that I've cleared and I am where I am, I see so much more hope, and I see people like you and the woman you talked about who had done the meridian work, and all the other people that are out there, spreading their own healing stories and journeys. I see that happening, and things are changing. There's a new vibe out there, and it's a little spark right now, but I see the embers, catching fire to other parts of the,
Yeah.
proverbial fireplace, and there's smoke, so it's starting to blaze, it's starting to catch on, and I'm very hopeful for where we're headed, and in general, yeah, I really am.
Yeah, it is. That's just what I've enjoyed about doing these interviews, because I've met so many amazing people and so many people who are trying to do good work in the world. And I think that, we, even within this community, we can all live in our own kind of separate bubbles and do our separate things. But it's through things like this here that we can start making connections, and we can join bubbles into larger bubbles. That's the only analogy that I have. But we can create this. We have the potential to create a community. A community where we can, look at each other and what we're doing, and well, that's great. I can incorporate some of that into my own practices, or I can spread that word, and we begin to, as I said, form a sense of community and a real sense of empowerment, and begin to make positive changes in this world just through communications like this here.
I agree. It's
Yeah.
cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is brilliant. It's amazing. So where can people find you then, Bo, if they want to avail of your services or they want to check you out? Because I know that you do some good work on YouTube. I love your blog. You teach some of this stuff as well. It's
Yeah.
really inspirational and really amazing to listen to and watch.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I actually kind of stopped doing YouTube for a few months, and I'm starting to put. It was really a little bit overwhelming to try to do like a 10 or 15-minute video every week, but then recently I discovered the YouTube Shorts, which are 60
Yeah,
seconds, and I was like, wow, man, these are brilliant. I
seen
love it.
them
So
today.
yeah, so that's what I'm starting to get back into that now. Hopefully, maybe do one or two short ones a week now, so that takes the pressure off of doing that. But yeah, the best place is the website. I got all the other social media stuff, but like my website is the hub of like
Yeah,
where I want people to be. So it's Amo Ni Clear CLER.com. And yeah, that's the best place to find me and come see what I'm doing. And if what I'm doing, if what I say resonates with you, then yeah, reach out, contact me, and let's see where things go. Like yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone, and see how I can
yeah,
see how I
yeah.
can help.
As we talked about it, it's just the it's the providing this opportunity for healing with people that makes the difference. It's not so much the popularity or fame. It's just to get, well, it's not about the popularity or fame. It's just to getting the message out to let people know that your life can change. There are techniques, there are things that you can do to change your life, and I'm kind of living proof of that. So yeah, I really do hope that an interview like this here will bring people your way. So
I agree,
important,
man.
the work that you're
I
doing.
agree.
Well, Bo, you've been an absolute inspiration. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I've really enjoyed your honesty. It's just been really amazing connecting me. I've enjoyed listening to you so much that I've actually subscribed to your YouTube channel myself, so I
Thanks
can
so much.
keep tabs on what you're doing. Yeah, it's so refreshing. Someone coming along who obviously understands the importance of healing and has been through a tough and hard journey and is open and honest about it. And the great thing about it is that you recognize that, look, it's just something that happened. It's an experience that I went through. There's no good or bad associated with it. It's something that has led me to this point in my life, and I'm comfortable enough talking about it.
Mhm.
So more power to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really, and as you said just now, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I really appreciate it, Zenith. Thank you for sharing your platform with me and with Amo Ni for us to, or for me to
Ab-
spread the
yeah,
message of Amo Ni. So,
absolutely. And as I said, I will be sharing it across my media once the interview does actually make kind of public,
yeah, I'll be
across
doing
the
the same.
blog and all the rest of it, just to try and get the word out. But yeah, hopefully maybe at some point in the future we can do this again and see what you're up to then. But yeah,
Yeah,
as I
I'd love
said,
that. I'd love to catch up again in the future.
yeah, brilliant. As I said, I've really connected with you. Really enjoyed talking to you. Once I started watching your videos, I went, right, okay, I like this. I like the cut of this guy's jib, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand. I
Brilliant.
agree.
Well, we're going to leave it there. Well, thanks so much, Bo.
Yeah, thank you, Zenith.